Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Raising the Curtain, a Bloomington Normal Theater podcast with Ashleigh Raylin. Today, I am here with Myesha-Tiara, the director of Panther Women, being performed with Coalescence Theatre. How are you today?
I am wonderful. I'm so happy to be here on the podcast.
I know, it's going to be so exciting. We're here right after our rehearsal, so hopefully everything's, fresh and exciting in your brain to go. So kind of before we start talking about the show, would you just mind telling me about who you are?
Yes, well, like you said, my name is Myesha-Tiara. I am originally from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, so I am from the South, very much Cajun, very much Southern, all that good jazz. I moved up to Chicago, actually, about 7 years ago, and last year is when I was starting the process to do Panther Women in Chicago. So I've been with this project for about 2-3 years now.
Oh, wow.
So it was about 2 years ago that I was chosen to be the director for the original Panther Women that I did in Chicago. So it was like, hey, I interviewed, got the gig, and then of course, as theaters do, until you can get that funding, you have to put stuff on pause. Things have to be, repositioned, and then the dates get pushed back, forward, all that good jazz. And then we ended up doing it in Chicago. Don, who is the artistic director at Coalescence, actually came down to Chicago to come see Panther Women, and that's how I met them. And they watched it, and afterwards they were like, we got to get this show over in Bloomington.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. Let's make it happen.
Why not? So how did you find your way into the world of theater?
Well, the funny story, and very short story, is because of AC, as in the air condition. So
That's great.
So I started acting when I was 5 years old. I was in an after-school program at school. My parents had to work late, so I had to stay at school for a couple extra hours. Sure. So they said, hey, would you like to go outside in the Louisiana heat and play basketball, or would you like to stay inside with the air condition and read a play? I had no idea what a play was, but I did know it was hot outside, and I would prefer to stay inside. So I stayed inside. We read a play, and I was like, this is kind of interesting. I like this. And after we read it, we went to actually go see that play performed at a space down in Louisiana, and I saw people go on stage and be like important. And then at the end, everyone clapped for them. And in my 5-year-old mind, I was like, oh, that's what I need to do. I want people to clap for me too.
Yeah.
And that's why I became an actor, because it was hot outside and people got to clap for you.
And people got to clap for you. I love that. Do you remember what the play was?
It was some random something, probably some junior version of something for the kids, so that
something
we could
just
pay
off
attention.
The public domain in the library.
Yes, it wasn't anything drastically important that I remembered. The main things I remembered is that they got to stand on stage and get clapped for, and they felt special. So I was like, I want to feel special too.
Who doesn't, right? So did you start out as an actor then before you became a director?
Yes, so I was a actor first. Actually got my degree from Northwestern State University, which is in Natchitoches, Louisiana. I went to there. I got my degree in performance and in directing. So originally I was not going to be a director at all, but not getting cast in The Importance of Being Earnest in my undergrad made me want to start directing as well, because I saw a few things that were happening that were those who were not seen as equal, minorities, and some people that were just disadvantaged. And unfortunately, in some theater programs at school, things are kind of like dog-eat-dog world. Yeah. And unless you're someone who speaks up more, which you shouldn't have to do because you get an education, these people should be teaching you, and they should be encouraging all these wonderful things that should be happening to make that process go well. Unfortunately, we live in a world where that doesn't always happen. Nope. And if you are someone that is not the majority in your program, unless they're doing something that's so specific to your race, then 9 times out of 10, you kind of get put by the wayside. But because I'm so vocal, I was never put by the wayside, but I was aware when I wasn't cast, not because it wasn't good enough, but because I was told there were no black people that existed yet. So I couldn't be in that show.
Didn't exist yet. What?
Look, your flabbergastedness is same. It's same as mine, okay? So I was like, what? And then my rose-colored, I was 19, my sophomore year of undergrad, and my rose-colored glasses came off, and I started to see the disparities in my program, and I started to realize, oh, the reason you're getting attention is because you refuse to be quiet.
Honestly, same though.
And I said, okay, well, that's fine. You know what? I'm going to start taking directing classes, because I'm going to start teaching these actors who you're ignoring how to act, since you won't do it. So I started taking office hours in my dorm room for actors who were like, hey, I need help with monologues.
I love that so much. That's fantastic. I mean, that's mind-boggling to me. I love that. I mean, I hate that you had to do that, but I love that you did that. And I think a lot of us start off, I know for me, I started out as an actor too. And then, of course, realized that I could make an impact somewhere else that wasn't just on the stage, but for the people on the stage. So I completely feel you on that one.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you worked on Panther Women up in Chicago. Can you tell me a little bit about what it was like working with the writer of the play and how it worked up there for you guys, and then kind of transition into how it's been working for you down here in Bloomington?
Absolutely. So India Nicole Burton, who's amazing, who's an amazing playwright whose work I really respect and actually really enjoy directing. This isn't the only thing I've directed from them. I've done some stage reading directions as well. I'm always like, India, if you got something and you want me to read it, and if I can kind of try to help get it produced somewhere, trust me, I will. They are phenomenal. So we decided to have it co-produced because I have my own theater company as well. So I'm an actor, a director, and also an artistic director. My theater company is called Coalescence Theatre. So we're on the south side of Chicago. Right now we're on East 79th Street in Chicago, which is in the South Shore, a little further south. And our whole mission is to bring more theater to the African-American community on the south side and also be an economic and educational training ground for BIPOC artists. So they're able to take classes, able to get your resume looked over.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, help with self-tape. We've helped a couple of people get some agents. Like, just trying to equal out that disparity and have true equality and equity to try to help those that may have not gone to school and had that privilege like I have to get a degree in this, to get equal playing field time when it comes to really being out here in the world and saying you want to be an entertainer. So Olivia Lilly, who is one of the main producers for Panther Women back home in Chicago, for me, back home, oh my gosh. I'm like, Baton Rouge, Louisiana is home for me, but then I'm like, oh, okay, well, Chicago is also home, apparently. My subconscious is like, back home. Was at the time working with Pop Theater as one of their members, and they said, hey, we don't want to just take this project on alone because we are a white-owned theater, and we want to be able to collab with someone who has the mission and the same drive and understanding as India Nicole Burton, who's written this, and who we can bring this to the community that it deserves to be a part of. So they brought on my theater company, Perceptions Theater, and we co-produced. I got my PR person, who's amazing, Jessica Gillespie, who freaking amazing PR. She was able to get us on NBC. She was able to get us on so many different platforms, small blogs to big blogs, news articles, podcasts, and all these different spaces so that it can get more publicity. We had a lot of programming around it, so we were able to do programming for the people in the area on 69th Street. The Black Panthers which is the show Panther Women, an Army for the Liberation's full title. They were a huge part in taking care of their children at the time period of like stepping in where the government didn't. So feeding, helping people get to the hospital, education, all that good jazz. So we had some programming like Kids Fun Day where we worked with the children, taught them yoga, fed them, taught them dances from the show so they could really get an experience of the arts, and also giving education on what the show is about. We had talkbacks with people who were part of the Black Panther Party at the time. So we were able to get all this stuff together for the show in Chicago, and with all the publicity we were getting, it went really well for us. This was literally just last year, and we actually were nominated for Black Excellence Awards, which is done by the Black and Arts Cultural Alliance, which is in Chicago, and we were also nominated for the Jeff Awards.
Awesome.
The non-equity Jeffs, which are actually tomorrow. So we have 2 nominations for the non-equity Jeffs. So fingers crossed we walk away with one or both of those nominations. We have Best Original Screenplay. This is not the Oscars. Best Original Play. Right. This is Best Original Playwright, which is India Nicole Burton's nominated for that for Panther Women. And then we also have Best Ensemble. So so really excited. We'll find out tomorrow, but all in all, we also were nominated, like I said, for Black Excellence Awards. We were nominated for Best Director and Best Play for that process. So it's been a fun and fast journey for myself and India. We've gotten way more attention from this show because it's gotten so many great reviews, getting recommended so many times, and just being able to bring it up here to Bloomington is it's great, and working with a whole new set of actors is a whole nother challenge, so I'm excited about it.
Awesome. So I have to ask, are you commuting here from Chicago to direct this? Did you move down here for a temporary time?
So Coalescence is amazing, and Dawn is awesome. They actually are housing me. So, so when I'm here, I am here normally Thursday through Sundays. I go back home Well, actually, once this is over, I go back home. But I'm home during Monday through Wednesdays, and then I head up here Thursdays through Sundays.
Okay.
And yeah, it's good when you can get housed by somebody when you're doing your art, because, like, you know, art costs money.
It sure does.
And travel costs money, but being able to be compensated and actually seen as a valuable person, and your thoughts and your opinions are taken seriously, I really appreciate that about Dawn and Coalescence as a whole. So I actually commute. Yes, I commute on Thursdays, but then I commute back home on Sundays. So I get to stay for the whole weekend.
So I guess it's not awful.
Yeah, no.
But I'm just like,
it's not too far.
I'm like, wait a minute, Chicago.
Yeah, it's not too far. About 2.5 hours, depending on traffic. Yeah, and I love a good podcast. I'll just sit and drive.
There we go. So tell me a little bit about what is Panther Women? What's it about? The plot. And why is the story important?
Yes, so Panther Women actually starts with a character named Journey, who goes on their own journey, pun intended. But Journey is kind of on their 13th reason. They're kind of at the point where they don't feel like they're being heard. They're being seen as the black woman that they are, and they don't want to be on this earth anymore. And which is like, whoa, automatically you come into something that's really deep, but it's something that's really honest, because oftentimes black women aren't seen and they aren't heard, even in today's society. Even, you know, it's 2024, and women as a whole aren't being seen and heard. Our rights are being, you know, repealed left and right.
Yep, it's insane.
So we're coming from a moment where she is very vulnerable, and she's just feeling unseen, which is a big part of this. She comes into a dilapidated Black Panther building where it's like there's paraphernalia from that time period and what have you, and she calls out to her ancestors, which is a huge part of this show, is being able to get that love and support from those that shoulders you're standing on. And she calls out for them, hoping and praying someone will hear her. And she turns around, and there's 6 women who are like, you called?
You read?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
And they take her on a journey of self-discovery of not only herself but the Black Panthers. We talk about 3 main women. We talk about quite a few people throughout, but the 3 main women we talk about is Assata Shakur, Angela Davis, and Elaine Brown. And we go through their stories not only as them as Black Panther women, because a lot of people know them associated with the Black Panther Party, but we talk about them in their childhood as when they are girls, when they are people, seeing where they started, where they came from, and not just this superhero figure that we hear about on Black History Month or something, but actually seeing them as a complete and whole person, which is actually one of the lines in the play. I am a complete and whole person. So this whole process is about seeing the Black woman as someone who is a human, and not just some superhero figure that's a strong Black woman, which is a trope a lot of people will cast Black women for, not only in theater but also in TV and film, and just see them as that. As you see that on TV, then you're like, in real life, well, sure, you know, they don't have emotions, they don't have feelings, they don't have all this and that, but we're human just like everybody else, and yes, we do. So this play allows these women to be vulnerable, allow them to get angry, allow them to be feeling sexy, allow them to lean on their sister, their sisterhood, to be able to carry Journey through her journey, so that she leaves feeling empowered and feeling heard and feeling like she does not have to end it all. You have a support system, and you don't have to sit here and think that you're not heard and that no one sees you, because we see you, and we're going to help guide you into a better version of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So obviously very strong story, very strong characters. What was it like for you when it came to casting this show?
It's so interesting because each cast is always so different. So I originally in the show in Chicago, I kind of handpicked most of the actors, because these are people that like I've seen them in things, or I've worked with them a little bit, and I wanted to give them the opportunity to be able to be seen in a bigger capacity. So I just kind of handpicked them. But me coming to Bloomington Normal, I don't know anybody here.
Right.
So we had auditions, we had callbacks, and for just a quick rundown, for Journey's character, I was definitely looking for a lot of vulnerability, a lot of, you know, there's a hint of naivete that I was looking for, childlike characteristics. For my 3 main ladies, Angela, Assata, and Elaine, I was looking for that power, the ability to digest and understand what they're saying, and also with them being the main storytellers who get real good stories out of them about their life, I wanted someone who can grasp and hold the audience attention. Because, you know, when you got a 2-3 page monologue going on.
Oh, yeah, you got to hold that. That's a lot.
You have to hold that attention in there. And then for my other characters that rounded it out, I wanted people who could play multiple characters. Because not only are these characters people who are like, yeah, we're talking about these 3 ladies, but we're also going through their life stories, and we're talking about other people as well. So a few times people do change characters. So those are the 3 ones I gave you, but there's a lot of other hidden nuance and a lot of dance, a lot of singing, a lot of just beautiful immersive theater moments that are happening as well. So I was looking for people who are able to quickly adapt to change, and the 7 ladies that I received were amazing.
Excellent. Yep. I mean, I walked into the room today and didn't realize how many people in the cast that I actually knew. I mean, I was very flattered that they were all like excited to see me. So I'm really excited about that. But can you talk a little bit about, now that we've got the show cast and you're in rehearsals, what is your rehearsal process, or what is your director process like when it comes to bringing a show to life?
Yes, well, I am someone who's definitely of the school of get it on your feet as quickly as possible.
Yes.
My first week is when I do dramaturgy. That's when we break down characters, we break down the world we're in, we do research and all the good stuff. After that, we're on our feet blocking, because I am like, let's get it done, because I am now I'm equity. I'm a part of the Equity Actors Association, and that process with that is like the shows are quick. It's like you get 4 weeks, and really you only get 3, and the 4th week is tech.
Yeah.
So I try to prepare my non-equity actors for that style of which I go in fast pacedness, because the quicker you get that book out of your hand, the quicker you can really have those moments and create those characters. So second week we're on our feet, blocking out the whole play. Then we go, and for this play itself, we have dance and singing. So then we go into singing rehearsals with Lorraine Loving, who is amazing. She's also our AD for this show.
Awesome.
So they're taking care of all of our singing aspects, the music relations with all that good stuff. And then we go into choreography. And Yaz is actually in our show and also the choreographer. So they came up with all the amazing dancing that everyone is going to get a chance to see. And then after that, we block everything out, and then it's running the show, fine-tuning, finding moments to do individual character work, especially for those good chunks of monologues that we have, to make sure everyone understands the moments that we're in, and being able to be fully a part of the show at all times, because this is an immersive show where the audience is right there. So you can look to your left or your right, and at any given time, because of how we've blocked things out, there may be an actor standing right there next to you, and and it's like, okay, so I am too a part of this play.
Those
like,
are always my favorite. When the audience is, that 4th character or whatever it might be.
Yes, absolutely. So the audience is right there with us. So you really feel as an artist member like you are a part of this play. So you don't leave here feeling like, hey, that was a good show that I saw from afar, more proscenium, where I'm removed. This is really in your face, and you're here with us in the moment. So you get to feel those happy emotions, those sad emotions, those mad emotions. You get to feel everything that's happening.
Yeah. So how important do you think it is to do shows like Panther Women?
I think it's very important, because if we don't tell our history, then it's either will be forgotten or mistold. So a lot of the source material, which India is really good about with researching, is coming from the autobiographies from Elaine, Asada, and Angela, and a lot of the source material that we read from the newspapers about the Black Panthers and all that good stuff. So seeing this show and actually learning about a part of history, but being able to make it in a way that's not just like, well, we're in history class and here's somebody droning on and on about this, but actually incorporating fun moments, and then just having the actors interact with the audience and make them feel like, hey, I'm being educated, but I'm also being educated in a way that I'm gonna take this information you're telling me, because you're telling it to me so vastly interestingly and immersively that I'm actually going to soak it in and remember it. So I think it's very important to actually know who the Black Panthers were, because if you don't know who they were in the sense of like, oh, they were just this group that was there. Some people may think they were a group that was there and they just didn't do anything or they caused trouble, but in reality they were doing a lot for the Black and brown community that the government wasn't. They stepped in when these low-income families weren't able to feed their children. They stepped in when people couldn't make it to the hospital on their own, when kids didn't know how to read, when people needed to make sure that they were safe getting home, when if you were stopped by the police, that you didn't feel like, okay, I can't advocate for myself. They could see you, like, and oftentimes that they would make sure that they were roaming around the neighborhoods like, hey, if the police are going to stop you, we're going to make sure you have an eyewitness to make sure you're okay and you feel safe at all times. So they stepped in a lot of times where the government didn't, and unfortunately, as many organizations that come to try to like help out with the poorer community and stuff like that, they get infiltrated, and you have moments where people who come into there not fully realizing what they're doing, and some fully realizing what they're doing, because we live in a world where sometimes people are just bad people.
Yeah.
They come and they dismantle things. So a lot of people don't realize, which you'll learn in this show as well, some people by name and their actual situations. But the Black Panthers are a dismantled group at this point, and some of them are in exile. Some of them are in prison still to this day. And this is a group that started like 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
And some of them, unfortunately, didn't even make it to see, their 25th birthday because they were shot down either by someone who infiltrated or the police at the time. So being able to learn this history from the people who actually lived it versus learning it from a historian alone, because a lot of, like I said, the source material is actually coming from the people that were a part of it at the time. It's very powerful and it's very different, and you get to be like, hey, this is a story I may have not heard before.
Yeah, I definitely feel like, and just from like the little bit of research I did before I came here to meet with you, I always associated, for some reason, that Black Panthers were bad people. And then after doing all of this research, I'm like, wait a minute, like this is being totally misconstrued as to what they were doing. So I think it's fantastic that we have, and I think that's what theater is supposed to be, telling those stories that we may not know about and then shining a new light on them and really providing an educational experience to a lot of people.
Absolutely.
So I love that that's the story it's telling, and I love that I learned something, before, even just in the few minutes that I took to research it. So I'm curious, obviously owning your own theater company up in Chicago and coming down here to Bloomington Normal, one thing that I love about Coalescence is they really pride themselves on doing shows that focus on the BIPOC community, or focusing their shows on, women or somebody that is not, a traditional white man, right? So what advice could you give to other theaters or other artists to really appeal to the BIPOC community, to try and, bring more people into their organization when that isn't like their main focus, I guess?
I would say for the theaters, do it in a genuine way. Don't do it because you got a grant that says you have to do something with someone of a marginalized community. Don't do it just because it's February and it's Black History Month. Yeah. I would prefer, if you don't want to do it, don't do it.
Right.
Like, stick to what your seasons normally are and who your audience
to what you
is.
know. Yeah.
But if you're someone who truly wants to get involved as a theater company, genuinely go out there to those. You have to look. You have to go ask around for those directors, those casting directors as well, those set designers, because it's not just getting the Black director to do a Black show and hire the Black actors. You actually have to actively go into the community yourself, find those Black actors, find those Black set designers, find those costumers, find all these people that you possibly can, if it's within your means. Not only within your means, but also if you have the capacity to do it in the area and region that you live in.
Right.
But go into it with a genuineness and an understanding heart and a patient mind, because also not everyone, because it is more marginalized people that are doing these shows, not often that you're always going to get someone who is college educated in theater and they've done this all their lives. Right. Sometimes you're walking in and you're working with people who have really raw talent and they just haven't had the opportunity to do so, because, as we know, art can be a very elitist field, and also as far as like the tax bracket, if you don't have money, a lot of times you can't do art. It's hard. You got to have 11 jobs while you're also trying to get to a rehearsal, and then you got to go to work, and then you're exhausted, and everybody doesn't have someone who has money to be able to help them get there ahead of time. So I would say for those theater companies that want to do it genuinely do it with understanding and a kind heart, and actually work with also being a part of the community. So when you're doing it, also do programming. Don't just do a show, but have talkbacks with the community coming. Have moments where you're like, hey, we'll go over and do a snippet of this at the school, or we'll do it at whatever this community center is. Get these people involved in the process so they actually feel like you're not just doing a show and asking for their money, but you're also giving something back to them.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I would say for the artist, Google is free, honey. You better go out there and you better look at what shows are casting. Look at these companies. Look at their mission, so you know who you want to work with. I think a lot of artists are just like, hire me, and they don't research any of these places, and they're just like, I'll just go audition, and then you may get cast in something, and you're like, I actually don't like the environment. It's like, because you didn't look at that mission statement, you didn't ask around, you didn't do any of that. So as an artist, you got to do your research on your own about who actually cares about what you care about, and figure out what you want as an artist before you go out trying to, like, I want to do more diverse theater, but actually reading these plays too that you're trying to go and audition for.
Yeah, absolutely. So where can we see Panther Women?
We're actually going to be doing it, I believe, April 17th through the April 28th. Or what is it?
We're just going to fact check. I got it in front of me.
Fact check.
So we are April 18th through 20th and the 25th at 7:30. And then April 21st and 28th, we're going to be doing like I'm a part of it. There's going to be a 2:30 p.m. matinee, and it looks like at First Christian Church.
Yes.
Excellent. And then one other thing I just want to look at here is the show in any sort of conjunction with the Black Artists League at ISU?
Yes, so we have been in communication with them with being a part, as far as like having me come down and do like a little workshop with them also, and get them prepared for like getting out there in the real world. But having them also just get used to the capacity of professional theater, having them come to rehearsals, whether they're assistant stage managing or like really just understanding that they can do this too. Like, this is something that these actors are getting paid for. Like, so this isn't community theater. Like, everybody's getting paid. This is professional theater. So it is in conjunction with them. We also have a performance on April 27th, I believe, is a Saturday.
That sounds about right.
And that's going to be actually up in Springfield. And we're collabing with the Garvey Tubman Center on some things with this show up there. So very excited about that.
Yeah, Dawn was telling me about that before I came in, that you guys were doing that. So, I mean, anything else you would like to add about the show? Any special shout outs or anything before we wrap up?
You want to shout out to? No.
I'd like to thank the Academy.
Yes, prepare the speech. I'd like to say that this show is beautiful, it's heartwarming, and it really gives you education no matter which race you are. Honestly, or which economic background you come from. You're going to leave here feeling like you not only know more about the Black Panthers and who they really were, but who these women were as human beings, and not just some figure we talk about on Black History Month or something like that. You're also going to learn about community, which is a big part of this show overall, is building that community and feeling like you're not alone, which is something that a lot of people do feel right now, like, inflation and just a lot of laws being turned back, and people just feeling, we're coming out of COVID, even though COVID hasn't gone anywhere, but we're coming out of lockdown, where a lot of people are feeling like they're alone and they don't have a village. And this is showing you that you can have a village. You have people that can love and support you, and you don't have to feel alone. You don't have to censor yourself. You can be seen, heard, and felt in all the emotions that you have. So, yes.
I love that. All right. Well, thank you so much, Myesha. I really enjoyed getting to talk with you today, and it was great to meet you. So everyone, go check out Panther Women with Coalescence Theatre. I'm sure it's going to be a riveting time of I'm just excited to see it. So awesome. Thank you so much, and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.